that resilience is not about avoiding the storm. It's about learning how to dance in the rain. Why do some people seem better at handling life's ups and downs? Of course, everyone's different and shaped by their past experiences and challenges, but resilience isn't something you're either born with or not. It's something you can develop by learning strategies to help adapt to change and cope with life's difficulties. This week, I want to explore what it means to build mental resilience. The word resilience has become such a buzzword and it's thrown around so much these days. So let's talk about some practical ways to help develop a resilient mindset. Let's dig into that. You know how life throws us curveballs? I believe in the incredible human capacity to heal and grow from life's challenges. We all face adversity in life, whether it's dealing with loss, overcoming personal challenge, or navigating mental wellness. Nobody gets through this journey of life without a few storms. Welcome to Transformative Journeys. I'm your host, Johanna LaRue. And through various challenges on my journey, including the devastating loss of my son in a workplace tragedy in 2006, I have navigated a messy path towards healing and rebuilding. It's been a journey of self-discovery that has taught me invaluable lessons about coping, healing, and transforming my experiences into tools for personal growth. Each week, I'll share my thoughts and insights and dig into strategies that can empower you to rediscover yourself, learn about transforming pain into power, building confidence to navigate life's challenges, and cultivating a life of meaning and joy. Join me on this journey of exploration and transformation. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button on your favorite platform and tap the bell icon to be notified when new episodes drop. Welcome back to Transformative Journeys with Johanna. Guess what? I'm Johanna. Today we're going to be diving into a crucial topic in the overall theme of resilience. Building mental resilience in the face of adversity. Mental resilience is our ability to adapt and bounce back when we're faced with life's challenges. It's what helps us not just survive, but to grow, even during really tough times. So what exactly is mental resilience? It's the ability to bounce back from difficulties and setbacks. While coping mechanisms help us to manage stress, resilience allows us to grow from adversity. It's about turning challenges into opportunities for personal development. Elizabeth Edwards defines resilience as accepting your new reality, even if it's less good than the one you had before. You can fight it. You can do nothing but scream about what you lost, or you can accept that and try to put together something that's good. And the ancient Greek philosopher Heraclitus, I didn't think I'd be able to pronounce that, said, "The only thing that is constant is change." So resilience doesn't mean that nothing phases you, or that when crappy things happen, you'll just bounce back to who and how you were before. Maybe sometimes you will, but resilience is more about knowing when a challenging life event comes along, and it will, that you're not just going to get through it. And that even though things may be different on the other side of it, you're going to be open to seeing challenges as opportunities for growth. and the flexibility to see some positive in your new path. There are many factors that contribute to whether we seem to have some innate resilience or we have to work a little harder at it. Things like your basic personality, whether you grew up in an environment where resilience was exhibited all the time, even genetics can play a part. The good news, though, is that even if you didn't have resilient role models or you don't feel very resilient right now, it's something you can develop. It's not about being unbreakable. Life will always have the capacity to try to break us. Resilience is about being able to put what's left of the pieces back together and step forward with hope and courage. And let's talk for just a minute about courage. What is courage? Dictionary.com defines it as the quality of being ready and willing to face negative situations involving danger or pain. A close synonym of bravery, showing courage is often thought of as facing such situations without fear, but it also involves facing them despite fear. To me, this sort of makes it seem like a somewhat masculine virtue of having the ability to go bravely forth into battle. But what if our dragons are a bit more subtle? So y'all know that I love Brené Brown's work. I find her incredibly inspiring as I continue my own work on resilience. And I like her definition of courage much better. She says, courage is a heart word. The root of the word courage is cor, the Latin word for heart. In one of its earliest forms, the word courage meant to speak one's mind by telling all one's heart. And I love how she puts it, that people who wade into discomfort and vulnerability to share their stories and speak their truth of their experience are the real badasses of the world. That's brave. So what if courage meant picking up the pieces we're left with after adversity and bravely stepping forward into our new reality in spite of the ache we might have in our heart, in spite of our fear, to write our own story, a story that's good, maybe different, maybe not quite as good as the story we had to leave behind, but the story we choose to write for ourselves from our own heart. That's resilience. I had no idea how resilient I was when my son died. In those first few months, resilience wasn't just laughable, it felt impossible. I tried to remind myself of my Opa's words to me almost 20 years before it happened about being a survivor like my Oma. But in those first few months especially, I was pretty convinced that I was most assuredly not going to survive this. And the concept of resiliency would have been absurd and probably insulting. After all, how long can one live with such an utterly broken heart? But you know what? I did survive. And eventually I even began to heal. And what helped? Support. Real, human, sometimes quiet, sometimes fierce support. Someone cooking me dinner and letting me cry and talk about my son. A couple of neighbors showing up on my front steps night after night to go for a walk, always allowing me the space and the grace to talk if I wanted, or be silent if I didn't. The people in my community continuing to invite us to the community barbecues and backyard fires, never pushy, and always gracious if I declined or went and left early. I found a community of support with a volunteer organization of people who had experienced similar tragedies, where I not only found emotional support, but I also learned healthy grieving and coping skills, and have been provided with an opportunity to advocate for safer workplace cultures. I learned that my life would never be able to go back to my before, but that I could learn to pick up the shattered pieces of my old life and build a new one that was not just good. In some ways, it's richer. And looking back, I learned that because I had people who shared with me the skills that resilience requires, I could walk through the fire and not just survive, I could thrive. Now, let me be clear. Coping skills and resilience aren't the same thing. Coping is what we do to manage stress and to reduce the immediate overwhelm that's happening at the time. It's important, super important, but it's often reactive and it's short-term. It's a short-term solution to stress or anxiety. Coping is defined as what people do to try to minimize stress, and namely directed at reducing the emotional consequences of a situation. Coping strategies are designed to mitigate the emotional and psychological symptoms of stress in the right now. They are without a doubt critical to have in your resilience toolbox, and having lots of tools that work for you in your toolbox is a healthy step towards building resiliency. So we'll go deeper into healthy coping strategies and tools in the next episode. But learning to do some deep breathing and saying a mantra when something stressful happens are just short-term strategies. On the other hand, integrating stress-reducing strategies into our life as tools we use on an ongoing basis, and then having a few what I like to call heavier power tools on hand when a really challenging event occurs, that's how we build mental and emotional resilience. Resilience itself is broader and deeper. It's the long game. It's about having an inner foundation that allows you to adapt, grow, and move forward over time. And there are so many effective tools, but you want to pick tools that work for you, obviously. What works for me won't be tools that work for everyone, and some of the tools that worked for others, I didn't find help me at all. The best strategies are ones that don't just help in the immediate short term. They're the tools that actually help you develop your emotional regulation skills, which is the ability to recognize when you're having an emotional response, to explore where that emotion's coming from, and then use the appropriate coping strategies to help you deal with it. Tools that help you develop your ability to adapt your thinking to be more flexible when situations and circumstances change unexpectedly. Think problem solving as opposed to problem fixated. So you're able to look past the problem and start opening your mind to the possibility of solutions. And resiliency strategies that help you learn to develop a positive outlook and what's called a growth mindset. And a growth mindset is basically viewing challenges as opportunities to learn and grow. And perhaps most important is to learn to have self-compassion and be kind to yourself when you're dealing with a challenging event or a challenging situation. Because God knows we can be hard on ourselves. So how do we begin to build those skills? Well, with many of the same tools I've talked about in some of my previous podcasts, and a couple that I haven't. And these are 6 strategies that I found helpful. But if you look, there are so many more. If not, all of these resonate with you. And like I said, you want to have several tools in your toolbox, not just one. I find the more tools I have in my toolbox, the more equipped I am to face new challenges and new unexpected experiences. So here we go. Here are 6 of my favorites. Self-reflection, journaling, and sort of self-assessment practices. Journaling can be a powerful tool for processing your thoughts and emotions. Taking a few minutes each day to jot down your feelings, your insights, your thoughts, or to write down something that you have successfully coped with in the past, to remind yourself that you really do already have some resilience. This practice can help you uncover patterns in your thinking and also to recognize areas where you're open for growth. The second is, of course, you'll hear me say this over and over again, is mindfulness, or even if you want to take it the step further, meditation. And mindfulness and meditation are not the same thing. I like to explain it in sort of the simplest terms for me to explain it are mindfulness is focusing your thoughts on something, and meditation is focusing your thoughts on no thing. Mindfulness is just super easy to incorporate into everyday things that you do all the time. And you might be surprised, if you've never practiced mindfulness, how such a simple strategy can make such a profound impact on your life. Even just a few minutes of mindfulness each day can have a profound impact on your mental, emotional, and even your physical well-being. Try simple things like focusing on your breath for 2 to 3 minutes. Engaging in mindful activities like mindful eating or mindful walking, even mindfully brushing your teeth, all can help ground you in the present moment and help reduce feelings of anxiety. Social support is important. Surrounding yourself with a supportive network, it's a cornerstone of building resilience. Being able to connect with a few friends or family members or even a support group is super important. It's vital to have people who can listen to you without judgment and offer you encouragement. And you don't have to have a big tribe. Even just a couple of people who you can trust to talk to you, who maybe, hopefully know that they can trust you to talk to them, is way more important for your emotional and mental resilience than having a big tribe of 10 or 15 friends who the only things you really have in common are the gym you go to and the bar you hang out at. So next on my list is positive thinking. And I know this one can be really hard when things are really, really crappy, but developing strategies to help you reframe negative thoughts and foster optimism and positive thinking are really important. Try challenging negative thoughts when you have them by reframing them. Instead of saying, I can't handle this, try saying, I will do what I can, and I will take it one step at a time. Goal setting is another really helpful thing, and they don't have to be big goals. I'm not talking about long-term career goals. I'm talking about setting tiny little achievable goals that can help you regain a sense of control when everything else seems to be out of your control. Breaking larger tasks into manageable steps and celebrating your progress along the way. Doing something small that moves you towards that goal, even if it's really just something small, can help give you a sense of purpose and meaning. And then this next one, the last one for today, is one that I use every day. It's part of my my day planner. It's part of my journaling practice, and that's practicing gratitude. Practicing gratitude can help to shift your focus from what's going wrong to what's going well. And I always say do it even or especially on the days when you are struggling with feeling grateful. My favorite mantra to myself is when I'm having those hard days where it's harder to really think of something tangible to be grateful for, is Johanna, fake it till you make it. Write down a couple or even something of things that you think you should be grateful for. Because just by acknowledging that there is something to be grateful for, you're focusing on gratitude. And I want to leave you with one more quick, helpful exercise that you can do on your own time. And I guess it's not really quick, but I will be able to share it with you quick. And it's called the door closed, door open exercise. It's helpful for reminding ourselves of times when we did get through a significant or emotionally challenging event and came out okay on the other side. Think about a time in your life when something came to an end. Maybe it was a job, a relationship, a dream. These would be times when a door closed. Now think about what happened after. What doors opened as a result of that door closing? What never would have happened if that first door hadn't closed? How did the door closing affect you? Did it last long? Why did the door close? What happened to open the new door? Did it take you a while to realize that the new door had opened, or did you see it right away? If it took you a while to see it, what prevented you from noticing that new door opening? Did the experience of that door closing bring about anything positive? And what can you do to help you realize when a new door opens sooner? And finally, what character strengths did you use while you were dealing with that door closing? And what does that closed door mean to you now? The reason I like this reflection is because it helps us remind ourselves that we've done hard things before, and we can do them again. Today we went a little deeper into resilience, what it is, what it isn't. And as we wrap up, I want you to remember that resilience is not about avoiding the storm. It's about learning how to dance in the rain. Building mental resilience takes time and practice. You'll mess up. You'll forget. You'll doubt yourself. That's okay. It's all part of it. But you can learn, you can grow, and you are absolutely more resilient than you think. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode. If it left you feeling a little inspired, share it with someone who needs it today. Your review helps others find me, and I would love to hear your thoughts. You can also visit transformativejourneys.ca to subscribe and get my resiliency toolkit for free, or find me on Instagram at transformativejourneys.johanna. I would love to hear your story. Also, don't forget to hit the subscribe button on your favorite platform and tap the bell icon so you'll be notified when new episodes drop. In the next episode, we're going to be digging deeper into coping versus self-care. What's the difference? And why does it matter? Until then, this is Johanna reminding you that it doesn't matter if you fall. What matters is how well you bounce. This is Transformative Journeys. See you next time. Hey, just a disclaimer, this podcast is for entertainment and informational purposes only and should not replace the advice of a medical or mental health expert. I am not a licensed counselor or therapist. In fact, I don't have a degree in anything, and there are no fancy letters after my name. I'm a full-time student at the School of Hard Knocks, University of Life, where I figure I'll graduate when I take my last breath. In other words, I'm just Johanna, a fellow human being on my journey through this thing called life, and your guide on this transformative journey.